Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has spent her professional career fighting for the rights of women in America. The inspirational story of one woman's lifetime fight for equality, her inspiring life, from her childhood in Brooklyn to her time as a renowned lawyer to her present-day role on the Supreme Court. Joan Ruth Bader went by the nickname Kiki. Her mother, Celia, was a smart woman who did what was required of women of her time and quit working to be a mother. However, she saved $8,000 for her daughter to go to college. Celia was diagnosed with cervical cancer and would die the evening before Ruth Bader's high school graduation. She also lost a sister to meningitis. Ruth Bader was accepted to Cornell. It was there that she truly began to witness the bias and injustice that people faced. This led to her wanting to be a lawyer. Not an easy career for women in that day, but she was ready for the challenge. She also met Martin Ginsburg while attending college. He was outgoing and complimented her quiet and reserved personality. They hit it off and were married in 1954 right after Ruth graduated Cornell. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a force to be reckoned with at an early age. She and Marty became pregnant and she was placed in the lowest-ranking government position possible because of her condition. But she persevered and birthed their daughter Jane. She also continued to go to and graduate law school while being a mother. During that time, she was also collecting her husband's notes for class and typing them up for him while he battled testicular cancer. Eventually, Ruth would get a chance to travel to Sweden and live for 2 years while she helped co-author a book on the Swedish judicial system. Marty stayed in the States and took care of their daughter Jane. Ruth became pregnant again in 1963. But this time she had learned to keep it a secret, and she did until her contract was renewed and she became the second tenured female professor at Rutgers University. In 1971 she began the Reed versus Reed brief and she won. It took educating the legal system about how women were treated as second-class citizens to win that campaign. However, after that success, she knew that she was breaking ground and getting equal opportunities for women to be on the forefront of people's minds. Jimmy Carter nominated RBG to the Court of Appeals in 1980. She didn't like the job and found it lacking in stimulation. However, it was a stepping stone to where she wanted to go in life. In 1993, Bill Clinton would nominate RBG for the role of Supreme Court Justice, largely in part to her husband using his connections to get her some interview time since she was so low on the list of candidates. In her acceptance speech, she dedicated her success in life to her mother. Marty Ginsburg died in 2010 of metastatic cancer. He left a love note on her pillow before his last trip to the hospital. They had a 56-year marriage, in which they championed and supported one another in all ways possible. It was a marriage and partnership that people aspire to and only a few get to live. RBG wore a signature necklace, a collar necklace with beads made by Banana Republic. But the symbolism behind that necklace was powerful. Ruth only wore the necklace when she was going to dissent. She had always been a moderator, rarely rocking the boat on a large scale. But in a few instances, such as the election of Bush versus Gore. Again, she wore it in 2007 when she dissented the courts having any say in a woman's reproductive health, in the Gonzalez versus Carhart case of partial abortion laws. It would appear whenever she intended to take people to task. She was given the nickname the Notorious RBG, with the add-on of "You Can't Spell Truth Without Ruth" by millennials that were impassioned, and inspired by a 5 feet 80-year-old woman. She was the senior most liberal judge on the Supreme Court. She stood for women, for minorities, for the underdog, and for unbiased political statures that gave everyone equal rights to a fair chance at life. Joanne Ruth Bader Ginsburg succumbed to cancer on September 18, 2020 at the age of 87.